Starseed Conqueror, 10,000 times rewards, Frigate destroys stars. Chapter 121, Iron Heart Assimilation Skill Advanced and Silicon-Based Transformation Bullet. Subscribe, sister? Chi was confused. He looked at the girl floating not far away on Qin Sheng's side, the white jade foot tiptoe on the ground, the slender jellyfish whiskers behind him, and the silver hair and silver eyes. Completely confused. What's going on? Is that Chi barium? Bioradio waves were very familiar to him, and it was Chi who was not wrong. But, how come? Chi barium you. Chi air couldn't accept it. That's Mr. Kikabar. No, how could it be? Behind Chi a group of high-level people such as the Kikram staff officer who were detained were equally shocked and could not accept it. Kiki Bell's slender body passed, stretched out a white jade slim finger, lightly nodded at Chi's blue, jelly-like jellyfish body, and said, "It's not Chi Bell, it's Kiki Bell. Now, I'm already the Emperor's man." With that, Kiki Bell drove back to Qin Sheng's side, and her white arm stretched out, and Qin Sheng's arm was blocked. "Hey, pay attention, so many people, the impact is not good," Qin Sheng said. This, Chi and the officers were desperate. There was a deep despair in my heart. How could this be? Chi Bar actually betrayed them. Chi Ram. The impact of this incident even made the ideological seal in Chi's mind be greatly affected. Even Chi's own benchmarking system of civilization and moral norms is somewhat unstable. The impact of this incident on him was really too great. After all, the brother who had seen him a few hours ago, now when he looked at it again, had become a silver-haired beautiful girl's sister. Who can stand this? Although their race is genderless, Chi was suddenly shocked. He just had a sudden thought. The Great Qin Empire would not capture their civilized civilians, and he himself would not. Kiki Bell came over and seemed to see what Chi was thinking in his heart, and the white Re stretched out, hugged this blue transparent, winter-like jellyfish, and said, "Serve the great emperor of Great Qin with your sister." Chi was shocked. The next moment, he was unconscious, only to feel that a mighty force was invading his mind. No. In his thoughts, Chi struggled, but it doesn't work. The thought stamp shattered instantly. The benchmarking system of the moral norms of the Kikram civilization was also shattered. Under the shroud of light, Chi's body drive also changed. After the light disappeared, the white slim jade fingers stretched out, crossed with Kiki Bell's 10 fingers, and the hands were close together. A waist-length blue-haired pizza, blue eyes open, jade toe points to the ground, one silver and one blue, two young girls floated in place. "Kiki, I've seen the Emperor." At this moment, she still became a beautiful girl with exactly the same appearance as Kiki Bell, and among the azure eyes, there was also only Qin Sheng's figure. This reminded Qin Sheng of Ram and Jingmu. It's just that Ram and Ram are pink and blue. In front of Kiki Bell and Kiki are white and blue hair. This. Even Deputy Commander Chi "Damn, evil Great Qin Emperor, what have you done to them?" The high-ranking officers of the Chizaram roared in anger. "Don't worry, soon, he'll be like this too." The corners of Qin Sheng's mouth were slightly raised, revealing a standard villain smile. Iron Heart Assimilation starts. The surrounding tactical humanoid maidens surrounded them, directly activating the race skill, Iron Heart Assimilation. Large swaths of light surrounded them. "No, can't fall. Hold on." But there is no way. The thinking of these high-ranking officers in Chizaram was also quickly captured. After the light passed, a beautiful girl with a body floating in the air and a slender jellyfish horn behind her appeared, successfully transforming these high-level Chi. The next action is much easier. The entire planet of Kikram fell directly into the hands of the Great Qin Empire. It is a good transformation to transform dozens of hundreds of high-level Chizaram into jellyfish maidens, but at this moment, on the planet of Kikram, there are at least tens of billions of Kikram civilians. If you convert one by one, is it too slow? Qin Sheng could only wait for Andilia to study those materials to produce a result. In fact, Andilia did not let Qin Sheng wait too long. It was as if this technology was born for the Great Qin Empire. There is no technical barrier to research, and it is very smooth. In less than a day, the results were already there. During this period, the Tsitsigram fleet supporting the home planet was also blocked by the neutron battlestar for 1,000,000,000 kilometers. Instead of destroying them, the neutron battlestar relied on its own neutron pulses to jam faster than the speed of light, interfering with their faster-than-light engines. This slowed them down again. "Your Majesty the Emperor, the results have come out. I used our own iron core assimilation properties to study it. 2 kinds of scientific results were obtained." Qin Sheng flashed the system's prompt in front of him. Iron Heart Assimilated Bullet. This weapon contains special silicon-based molecules and imperial loyalty memes. Once launched, it transforms the entire planet's civilization race into silicon-based creatures/tactical maidens. This weapon is an advanced version of the tactical humanoid maiden skill Iron Heart Assimilation. Silicon-based transformation bomb. This weapon is the second version, only silicon-based molecules, no Emperor loyalty memes. After launch, the base material of an entire planet can be converted into silicon. The carbon-based civilization races on the planet will be obliterated and become puppet-like silicon-based robot creatures. 2 versions. The first version, it was obvious that it was something that could quickly increase Qin Sheng's population and be loyal to him. The meme of the Emperor's loyalty is the meme that comes with the tactical humanoid girl. This kind of thing is not clear, but it is certain that it is far higher than the general regularity, the law of cause and effect. The second version is a simple weapon. If any civilized race had offended Qin Sheng and needed some special methods to punish them, it would be able to use the second version of the silicon-based transformation bomb. All matter, creatures, plants, civilization races on the entire planet can be transformed into silicon-based machines. At the same time erase all their intelligent thoughts and turn them into thoughtless, walking dead robots. 5. Chapter 123. Get 2.4 million warships. Qin Sheng descended into the Galactic Council space. Subscribe, and the 12 star-studded battle stars. Among the fleet, at least 2 billion Chichi Roma soldiers began to transform. The Emperor meme began to penetrate their minds. Loyalty, loyalty. Soon after, the slower transforming soldier Chizarome was horrified to find that the life form of her companion had been completely transformed. From the original jellyfish-shaped creature, it has become a jellyfish with some jellyfish characteristics, and looks like a Homo erectus race maiden. As soon as these transformed jellyfish maiden warriors were successfully transformed, they stood up and blurted out the word loyalty. Lofus, what's wrong with you? A soldier of Kikram, who had not yet been fully transformed, looked at the strange-looking girl in amazement and felt the incomparably familiar biological radio waves. Nothing? I just evolved. I am very happy to be able to join the Emperor in this new and beautiful form. Let's 2 sisters work for the Emperor together. The beautiful jellyfish maiden floated in the air. Jade tiptoed to the ground, stretching out her white-pink arms to go upstairs to live with her friends. No, the jellyfish-shaped Chinchorome soldier still wanted to resist, and the next moment, the transformation was complete. A new beautiful jellyfish girl appears, and the two embrace each other. Let's serve the Emperor together as sisters. Overbearing, the iron heart assimilation bomb is worthy of mimetic transmission. The law of causation seems to be more terrifying than the rule class. It's breathtaking. Qin Sheng on this side immediately felt it, and in his imperial mind, he felt the newly extra tens of billions of jellyfish maidens. Every jellyfish maiden has no less absolute loyalty to him than a tactical humanoid maiden. After the adoption of the Chichiram clan, the population of the Great Qin Empire will also expand dramatically. After all, the population of the entire Kikram civilization, although relatively small among the many 4th-level civilizations, is also more than hundreds of billions. The potential of the Kikram civilization is very high, and almost everyone is a scientific research talent. To put it bluntly, Qin Sheng would not let go of a single person. That is to say, Qin Sheng had the meme of the Emperor's thought, otherwise he would not be able to do something like an iron heart assimilation bomb. At most, a second version of the silicon-based conversion bomb can be made. After subduing these jellyfish maidens, the military strength of the Great Qin Empire also grew in a straight line. Those 2,400,000 warships and 12 star-sized battle stars were automatically included under the command of the Great Qin Empire, became the Qin Army. Although the jellyfish maiden warrior form has been transformed into a silicon-based humanoid maiden, they are still able to operate the warships of the Kikram civilization. The reason is that the jellyfish maiden warriors retained the jellyfish form of male. The battleship operation of the Kikram civilization relies on the horn tentacles to link the neural signal directly. Therefore, the jellyfish maiden warrior can be directly operated. Although the combat strength of these warships was not as good as that of the battleships before the Great Qin Empire, but no matter what, it is also a battleship of the 4th-level peak civilization. It is generally equipped with proton decomposition cannons, ordinary tachyon light spears, antimatter guides, and other weapons. It can be said that Qin Sheng only needs to rearmate these warships and let these warships be equipped. Laplace Heavy Fast Gun Light Spear and Sky Curtain Space Warp Force Field Shield, coupled with the auxiliary force field of the Neutron Battlestar, the combat effectiveness of these battleships can rise in a straight line. Qin Sheng now had a new population of 320 billion jellyfish maidens. In terms of military strength, the new 2.4 billion professional jellyfish maiden warriors, 2.4 million warships, and 12-star battle stars joined the army of the Great Qin Empire. Qin Sheng also immediately assigned them new troop numbers. 1 destroyer, 2 frigates, and 3 ships form a battleship attack group. 3 fleet battle groups, plus a cruiser, and 10 battleships formed a battleship attack squad. 3 battleship attack squads, plus a battleship, form a battleship attack platoon. 3 battleship attack platoons, plus a support and maintenance mothership, and 6 large integrated supply battleships, formed a battleship attack company. The standard for a Great Qin Empire warship attack company was just 100 battleships under the command of 1 comprehensive support maintenance supply mothership, 3 battleships, 6 large comprehensive supply battleships, 9 cruisers, 27 destroyers, and 54 frigates. This was the basic combat unit of the Great Qin Empire. Up to the Battleship Attack Company is the Battleship Attack Battalion. A Battleship Attack Battalion consists of 10 Battleship Attack Companies. 10 Battleship Attack Battalions formed a fleet battle group. A fleet of warbands consists of 10,000 warships. These 2,400,000 warships can be divided into 240 fleets and battle groups. 10 fleet battle groups formed a Great Qin Empire fleet group army. 2 fleet armies, plus a planetary battle star, can form a fleet battle group. In other words, it was a 200,000 search battleship, a star-rated battle star, and a target of the Great Qin Empire seeing Team Group Che Junyang. It was just enough to form 12 new Great Qin Empire fleet groups, and Qin Sheng couldn't help but feel both squad, platoon, company. This kind of military system was first derived from the tactics of the era of queuing and shooting on Earth. Earth was in the era of flintlock gun platoon gun shadow tactics. Soldiers stand in a line and line up to shoot. This is a platoon. Several platoons form a phalanx, which is a company. And this kind of military system, in today's space age of the universe, still applicable, because the warships of the two sides are separated by tens of millions, hundreds of millions of kilometers, lined up in not trains against each other. Essentially, it's no different than being shot in line. However, the soldiers were replaced by battleships. The tunnel gun was replaced by high-tech weapons such as the fast sunlight spear and the proton decomposition gun. The Council of the Galactic Civilization Destiny Community, or this parliamentary space, more than 354th level civilization leaders or representatives sat neatly here. At present, the leaders of two civilizations are absent. Emperor Aethys was absent. There is also the absence of the Supreme Secretary General of the Chiziram civilization, Chichi Bear. The reason for their absence goes without saying, but these leaders and representatives of the 4th level civilization did not understand. Why hasn't Mr. Secretary General come yet? Yeah, at this time, this meeting begins. Why didn't he show up? Is something wrong? What's going on? I don't know. The leaders and delegates of the 4th level civilization were all puzzled, talking to each other at this moment. A flash of light flashed. Here it comes. Everyone is in good spirits. The next moment, however, the figure that appeared made them all freeze, only to see a virtual image of a tall Homo sapiens race creature dressed in pitch black full coverage power armor appear in front of everyone. Qin Sheng did not wear a helmet, but deliberately wanted these people to see his appearance clearly, so that these people were familiar with the appearance of human beings. The leaders and representatives of the more than 354th level civilizations present were stunned. Not Secretary General Chichi Barium? Who is this man? Chapter 124. The 12 civilizations rebelled. What will happen to you? Subscribe. Suddenly, everyone was silent. They all looked at Qin Sheng's figure that suddenly appeared. No one spoke. The representatives of the 4 4th-level peak civilization races, the Northern Galaxy Wei Yang, the Shilua military state, the Iron Curtain Starry Sky, the Pioneer Workers, and other leaders and representatives were all looking at Qin Sheng. The atmosphere on the field was particularly oppressive and silent. The people present, it can be said, did not know each other, and none of them saw Qin Sheng. Moreover, Qin Sheng was obviously using Chi-Chi's parliamentary communicator. This makes everyone think about it in their hearts. Who is this man? Why is Secretary General Chi-Chi's parliamentary communicator used? What happened to Secretary General Chi-Chi Basil? For a moment, everyone seemed to think of that possibility. However, no one wants to believe it. After all, how could the Chichiram civilization, which can be called the first 4th level peak civilization in the galaxy, be the Supreme Secretary General? Finally, a moment later, Qin Sheng broke this silent situation. Guys, Qin Sheng stood on the platform in the middle of the circular council, and first looked around the circle to see the different expressions of each civilization race and each expressing its emotions. Then he said, presumably, most people here don't know me. Of course, he has a sign that he knows about me. Qin Sheng pointed to the small seal body Qin character on his armor, smiled slightly, and said, but in order to show politeness, I still introduce myself. Under the Emperor, the leader of the Great Qin Empire. The 4 words of the Great Qin Empire came out. It was full of surprise. Great Qin Empire. It was at the last meeting that Emperor Addis made a deal, and Secretary General Chi-Chi decided to jointly conquer the Great Qin Empire. How can this be? Haven't you already gathered the combined forces of 50 civilizations to conquest? How could the Emperor of the Great Qin Empire appear in the parliamentary space? At this time, the leaders of the 304th level civilizations, the representatives, all of them turned their attention to the leaders or representatives of the civilizations that ranked in the top 50 in the galaxy. The leaders or representatives of the top 50 civilizations in the galaxy are almost all gloomy. The Milky Way is 100,000 light-years in diameter and too wide. For now, the news of their defeat has not yet come out. Therefore, the other 304th level civilizations that had not yet had time to participate in the coalition did not know that they had been defeated. In fact, this time the meeting was held to talk about this matter and discuss what they should do next. As a result, the meeting was held, and Chi-Chi Barium, who presided over the meeting, did not come. Qin Sheng came, and Qin Sheng didn't speak either. just looked at them like this. The leaders of the top 54th level civilizations were all silent and did not speak. At this time, the representative of the leader of the hero military state spoke. There's nothing to say, defeat is defeat. The coalition of more than 60 planetary battle stars and more than 3,600,000 warships was defeated head-on by 2 battle stars and 20,000 warships of the Great Qin Empire. There's nothing to say, we in the hero military can afford to lose. As soon as the leader representative of the Shilua military state opened his mouth, the 300 leaders of the 4th level civilization were in an uproar. The combined forces of 50 civilizations were defeated head-on by the Great Qin Empire. This, although they all know that this is absolutely true, it is too much for people to hear and difficult to accept. The representative of the hero military state has been replaced, not Admiral Star? At this time, representatives of the leaders of civilizations who ranked low suddenly discovered this. The representative of the hero military state was replaced, isn't it? The stars will put him. Combined with the fact that the battle had just been defeated, a reasonable guess appeared in everyone's mind. That's right, Admiral Star is out there. He is glorious in his dwelling, and it is our glory. Speaking of this, the representative of the leader of the hero military state said in a tone of glory. Everyone was silent again. At this time, Qin Sheng opened his mouth. Folks, I think you already know that the coalition forces have been defeated. And now, I'm going to make an announcement. Qin Sheng put his hands behind his back and looked at the civilization leaders in the seats in front of him. Qin Sheng said, the capital of the Qin civilization, the Daffodil Galaxy, and the Qin gaseous planet, have been conquered by our Great Qin Empire. The top echelons of the Chichi Roma civilization, including Secretary General Kiki Bell and Deputy Chief of Planetary Defense, Kiki Payer, have been annexed to our Great Qin Empire. Become a member of our Great Qin Empire. As soon as this news came out, it was as if a heavy antimatter bomb had been dropped in the silent backwater of the parliamentary space. Representing all the advanced civilizations in the galaxy, the leaders of more than 354th level civilizations represent that the shock at this moment is no less than the collision of positive and negative matter, extinguishing the huge energy generated. Damn bastard, what are you talking about? A representative of a 4th level civilization leader stood up violently, pointed at Qin Sheng, and rebuked with great anger. The Chizirum civilization is the benchmark of the galactic righteous civilization, represents the head of our galactic civilization of justice. How can the Qikrum civilization be attached to your evil Great Qin Empire? Nonsense. Damn bastard, you must have used some despicable method to steal the conference communicator from Mr. Chichi Barium. We, the Huigo civilization, will not let you go. Dear colleagues of the justice system, our military civilization is going to launch another expedition. Rescue Kikibi you sir. The Huigo civilization, the 37th of the 4th level civilization in the galaxy, is also among the previous coalition forces. Although the 4th level civilizations of the galaxy all participate in the Council of the Community of Destiny, they are also divided into several factions. They were the war fanatics, led by the hero military state. Led by the Qikrum civilization and flaunting galactic justice, the Justice Alliance system is headed by the Northern Galactic Weiyang faction. There are also neutral factions led by Pioneers and the Iron Curtain Starry Sky, who do not take the initiative to express their opinions on anything, but go with the flow. As soon as the Huigo civilization stood out, the leaders of 12 civilizations also stood up. They also wanted to call on more civilizations to join them and once again fight against the Great Qin Empire. And Qin Sheng just watched like this. Look at them, 12 civilizations. Suddenly, Qin Sheng opened his mouth. What? The leader of the Huigo civilization was stunned. Add your Huigo civilization to provide the corresponding appeal of 12 civilizations. So, what will happen to your 12 civilizations? The corners of Qin Sheng's mouth were slightly raised, revealing a sneering smile. Chapter 125. Is this the Dragon Cloud Medical Group? Oh my god, this decoration doesn't look like a hospital at all. It's like coming to a 5-star hotel. Hiss. This imported marble, this lobby is actually more than 10 meters high. This is also so luxurious. Longyun Medical Group. Longyun Medical's ambulance picked up Li Youwei's mother, and then Li Youwei's family of 4 got into the ambulance. Followed to Longyun Medical, just entered the door after getting out of the car. Li Xingyu was stunned by this luxurious appearance. Sister, is this really arranged by Shen Liang? I still can't believe it. Li Xingyu looked at his sister Li Youwei in a daze. Li Youwei narrowed her eyes. Why, by now you still want to find Shen Liang's stubble? Are you looking for a beating? Li Dao also looked at Li Xingyu reproachfully. Xiaoyu, you child must know how to be grateful. No matter how Shen Liang did it, we have already come to Longyun Medical as we wished, and this is arranged by Shen Liang. Even arranged for the top doctor, Dr. Zhang Wuqi. If you dare to be disrespectful to Shen Liang again, not only will your sister be angry, but I will also beat you up. Li Youwei's words, Li Xingyu dared to peel it. Li Dao's words, Li Xingyu did not dare. Hearing the words, he smiled directly. Right now, several people stood in the doorway and heard the sound of cars outside. Li Xingyu subconsciously turned back. I was shocked. isn't this Su Jingyun's Rolls-Royce Cullinan? Said. Seventh sister got out of the car with Shen Liang. This, isn't this Su Jingyun's female driver? Hearing this, Li Yue looked over. Then the white eyes said, Xiao Yu, who told you that this was Su Jingyun's car and driver? This is Shen Liang's car, is good or not? It has always been. As for this girl, although I have seen her for the first time, it should also be Shen Liang who is the driver. At least this car, I saw it several days ago. Hear this. Li Xingyu was stunned. A few days ago? No, Su Jingyun has just been on fire for 2 days. 2 days at most. Thinking of this, Li Xingyu suddenly returned to his senses. Sleeper. Is this car really Shen Liang's? Isn't Shen Liang very powerful now? Li Yue said helplessly. What is this car? Shen Liang also has a Pagani supercar. Shen Liang is not at all what you think. Pagani supercar? Li Xingyu was sluggish. Right now, Qin Shengnan's phone rang. Hey, Li Sungwu? Just now I have been turned off, just turned on. Are you calling me? Qin Xiao. I just wanted to ask you if you have a very hard relationship with Longyun Medical. My mother has cancer. Longyun Medical? Anti-cancer? I may be able to ask, but I don't dare to pack tickets. No, I found a relationship now. Shen Liang found it. Oh yes, Qin Xiao, you may not know who Shen Liang is. That is, the last time I helped you move, and then he seems to know your sister. When Li Xingyu was subconsciously introduced, Qin Xiao's head suddenly startled. Interrupted. Wait, Shen Xiao helped you arrange it? Shen Xiao? What Shen Xiao? It's Shen Liang Shen Xiao. Lying in the grooves, Shen Xiao was able to arrange Long Yun's medical affairs in minutes, and sure enough, Shen Xiao was still so good. Wait, I don't quite understand. Qin Xiao, do you know Shen Liang? Li Xingyu's confused voice finished. Qin Shengnan paused for a moment and said quietly, the last time I moved, you saw that Pagani supercar, didn't you? That Pagani blind? There is only one in the world, I know. That's Shen Xiao's car, which is what you call Shen Liang. Oh yes, Shen Xiao lives upstairs in my sister's house. 260 million sets, the one with the outside pool. Hear this. Li Xingyu is stupid. Pagani Jingwei is Shen Liang? That mansion of the purple golden palace is also Shen Liang's? This. So, Shen Liangfa's pretending to force the circle of friends is actually not pretending to be forced. And really? So to speak, last time at Guardian auctions, Shen Liang was spending on himself, and the more than 300 million jewelry were all taken down by Shen Liang. So, in the morning, Shen Liang was at Goan Manor, facing Wu Tianming. He did not rely on the relationship of the Qin family, but on his own. So today, Longyun Medical is here. It was really arranged by Shen Liang's connections? Think of it all. Li Xingyu suddenly felt that his head was not enough. At this time, Shen Liang and the seventh sister came in with some supplements. Let's go up, it should all be arranged. With that, Shen Liang walked in front. A group of people followed behind. Li Xingyu turned back to his senses and hurried to catch up. Shen Liang. Oh no, brother-in-law. Wait for me. Inpatient building, senior ward. Oh my god, is this a senior ward with 20,000 hospitalizations a day? It's also too luxurious. There's even a kitchen and a separate bedroom, computers, televisions, independent Wi-Fi, high-end imported furniture. Brother-in-law, you're too good. In the ward, because there is no surgery for the time being, it is necessary to arrange Li Youwei's mother here first. But, since getting on the elevator, Li Xingyu's look at Shen Liang's eyes has changed. The title has also changed. While smiling, he looked at Shen Liang, a mouthful of a brother-in-law's cry. It made Shen Liang uncomfortable for a while. Li Youwei's face was red, and she finally couldn't help but squint. Stinky boy, can you be honest? What a brother-in-law. Call a name. Hey, what's the name? You like Shen Liang. Everyone can see it. If I had to say it, sister, you have vision. I thought Shen was good at the beginning, and Shen Liang was a perfect match for you. I don't call my brother-in-law now, but sooner or later I have to. Why not shout in advance and make your brother-in-law happy? Is that right, brother-in-law? Hearsay. The corners of Shen Liang's mouth twitched. Although it is awkward, I am still very proud in my heart. Oh, boy, is this a reform? Not against me? Hear this. Li Xingyu smiled awkwardly. What? Before I was a brother-in-law, I didn't understand things when I was young. My brother-in-law doesn't remember the villain. He won't be angry with me, will he? God, TM young and ignorant. We're classmates, okay? As big as ever. How come you're young? That's it. At the beginning, I went to flirt with my brother-in-law. When Li Xingyu first choreographed Shen Liang in the group, Shen Liang was running to flirt. After all, at that time, Shen Liang decided to take down Li Yue. Treating his brother-in-law, Shen Liang naturally couldn't go too far. Otherwise, this time Li Xingyu did so. Shen Liang had already taught him a serious lesson. Of course, even so, these times made Li Xingyu quite autistic. Xiao Shen, thank you so much. I really didn't expect that you really arranged the young mother here in the senior ward. I heard that this senior ward is lined up. It's not like you can live in with money, is it? At this time, Long Feiyang suddenly came in from outside the door. Haha laughed. Ha ha ha, big brother, you're right. This senior ward, in normal times, must be booked at least half a month in advance to be able to stay in. It's not that our hospital is not big enough, there are not enough wards. Mainly because there are too many people from all over the country who come to see a doctor, and even many big men from abroad come to us at great prices. Can you imagine the value of this ward that Mr. Shen has arranged for you? See the dragon flying with a sudden appearance. And a few old doctors behind him. Li Dao subconsciously got up and came over nervously. Looking at Shen Liang, he said cautiously, Xiao Shen, these are. Oh, this is Long Feiyang, Dean Long, Dean of Longyun Medical. The rest of them, I'll introduce you to the rest. Long Feiyang naturally took over Shen Liang's stubble. Continued, these three are the top oncology and cancer experts in Longyun Medical. Director Zhang Wuqi, Director Jing Yunshan, Director Duan Xue. Next, the three directors will personally consult and see Mrs. Zun. Of course, this is all Mr. Shen's face. Brother Li, you can rest assured. With these three directors here, Madame Zun's illness can be easily eradicated. Here Long Feiyang finished speaking. Li Dao's family of three are dumbfounded. The Dean of Longyun Medical all looked at Shen Liang's face and personally came over. Even, the three expert directors of Longyun Medical personally consulted. This. Even if Li Xingyu had already reacquainted himself with Shen Liang just now, at this moment, he still refreshed his cognition again. Dean Long, take the liberty of asking, my brother-in-law, Shen Liang, is he a good friend of you? Your brother-in-law? Long Feiyang was stunned for a moment and subconsciously glanced at Li Yue. Then he smiled. Friends? This is my dragon's wish. I hope to become a friend of Mr. Shen in the future. But now, Mr. Shen is the second largest shareholder of our Longyun Medical. One of the bosses, you said I don't give face. Shen Liang, it is the second shareholder of Longyun Medical? One of the owners? Oh, my god. Li Xingyu's head went blank. The next second, pounced directly on Shen Liang. Brother-in-law, I'm going to hold my thighs. Chapter 126. Silicon-based transformation bomb. Erase all wisdom. Subscribe, the people of Chiziram are coming? Send a fleet to meet them. Above the home star of the Huigo civilization, a fleet immediately took off. The fleet was not numerous, with only a few hundred warships. Great, the fact that Chi-Chi's people can come to me shows that the great Qin Emperor was lying before. When I meet the people of Chiziram, I must ask what happened to Mr. Chizar. The leader of the Huigo civilization was very happy. For other space civilizations, there are many space civilizations within the Galactic Justice Alliance benchmarking system led by the Chiziram civilization. They are all civilizations with very high moral standards and benchmarking systems. Between these civilizations, between civilizations and civilizations, the interests, calculations, will plummet. The same civilization as the moral standards and normative benchmarking system is noble, and their sense of youth is also very pure. For the Chiziram civilization, the parent stars of many civilizations are actually not defensive against them at all. It's because of trust. This shows what kind of height the prestige of the Chiziram civilization in the galaxy has reached before. This is also why Qin Sheng said that after the Kikaram civilization was annexed to the Great Qin Empire, so many civilizations would feel angry and not believe it at all. In the Galactic Council space, the leaders of all civilizations were just watching, and they were no longer speaking. Deep doubts and uneasiness filled their minds. Huigo's mother star, the Chiziram fleet, was close to the terrestrial planet. Hundreds of search warships that took off from the planet and went into space came to welcome them. Welcome. Our friends, welcome. It seems that what the evil Great Qin Empire said is really a lie. You still belong to the righteous side. Huigo greeted the commander of the fleet and happily sent one communication after another to the Tsitsitsiram civilization fleet. However, they are like stones sinking into the sea, and there is no response. In the space of the universe, a huge fleet of 5,000 kilometers in diameter and surrounded by 200,000 warships is constantly advancing. In the vacuum, there is no sound, and the scene is extremely silent. Such a huge fleet, carrying a dead silence, is constantly advancing, making people feel extremely terrifying. The commander who greeted the fleet suddenly felt that something was wrong. He frowned and once again sent several messages to the fleet of the Chiziram civilization, but all of them sank into the sea. What's going on? Aren't they the people of the Chiziram civilization? No, the fleet of the Kikaram civilization. Because of the peculiarities of its civilized race, their warships can only be driven by their people. Whiskers by special jellyfish, nerve hornworms. People of other civilizations can't open it, and even if they want to crack it, it will take a lot of time. The commander who greeted the fleet suddenly fell in love. Don't get into any accidents. Just as the two sides kept getting closer, on the other side of the Kikaram civilization fleet, there was movement. A spear of light cut through the pitch-black space in an instant. It seems to have cut through this curtain of light. A civilization leader of the Galactic Council space had just been turned closer to his own perspective, and this fast bullet spear of light appeared directly in front of him. It startled him, but then after he reacted, his inner page was shrouded in a huge fear. The fleet of the Chiziram civilization has attacked. They launched an attack on the Huigo civilization. Why? Is it really? The explosion flashed in space in an instant. A Huigo civilization warship was instantly pierced by the fast sunlight spear. The space warp force field shield equipped on the battleship did not serve the slightest purpose. Laplace, heavy fast gun light spear. These fleets of the Kikaram civilization are the fleets attached to the Great Qin Empire, and the ordinary fast sunlight spears on them have been fully transformed into Laplace heavy fast sunlight spears. Within the category of the 4th level civilization, Laplace heavy fast gun light spear means invincible. Moreover, the gap in strength between the two sides is now so large. Almost after the first salvo, the Huigo civilization fleet that had come to greet them had not yet figured out the situation. It was all destroyed. In the first round of salvos, there are also a large number of curvature engine antimatter guides. At hundreds of times the speed of light, the ferocious forward assault, countless streams of light that were simply invisible to the naked eye fell above the orbital defensive positions outside Huigo's home planet. Antimatter missile hits, the collision and extinction of positive and negative matter, the huge amount of energy generated in an instant, the 9 anti-unloading vehicles of the track outside the Huige mother star were also destroyed. Everything happens too fast. A planetary battlestar, the 200,000 warships directly destroyed the orbital defense space station position of Huigo's mother star with lightning speed. The Chizirum civilization is attacking the home planet of the Huigo civilization. How is this possible? Oh my god. When the leaders of many civilizations in the Galactic Council space saw this scene, they immediately felt as if their worldview had collapsed. If this is really the case, then doesn't this mean that the Kikrum civilization has really been attached to the Great Qin Empire? As you can see, this is a group of armies composed of the first and second armies of the Great Qin Empire. From now on, there is no Chichirum civilization, only the Great Qin Empire Qin Sheng standing in space, looking around at everyone. Dao. It didn't take long for the defense fleet of Huigo's mother star to be completely disintegrated. They didn't hold out for long. Attacked by the Kikrum civilization, this is a double blow between the stomach and the physical of the people of the Yunga civilization. Soon, Huige's mother star was completely exposed to the guns of the first and second fleet armies of the Great Qin Empire. Qin Sheng waved his hand and communicated an instruction through faster-than-light communication. Silicon-based conversion bomb preparation. After the silicon-based transformation bomb is launched, all carbon-based species on the entire planet, whether animals or plants, will be transformed into silicon-based forms. And after the transformation, it will be erased of all wisdom and become a silicon-based machine like a walking dead, without wisdom and self-awareness. Order. A grain of light that shimmered with light shot out of a battleship in space. Fallen into the planet man. Chapter 127. I Great Qin Galaxy Leader. Who is in favor and who is against? Subscribe. The home planet of the Huigo civilization. Huigo people in all the cities in the northern hemisphere can see that a point of light is falling from the sky. All defensive weapons on the planet's land have taken off to intercept, but none of them worked. This point of light just flashed in the sky. What's that thing? A Huigo man stopped on all fours and stood where he was, looking at the strange point of light in the sky that was constantly flashing. At this moment, the point of light suddenly scattered, turning into a shock wave of light, spreading towards the entire planet. As can be seen from outer space, the entire surface of the planet seems to be constantly being scanned, covered, and wrapped by this shockwave light. The capital city of the home star of the Huigo civilization. The leader of the Huigo civilization received the message. Yuan is born first. No, the fleet of the Kikrum civilization suddenly launched an attack on us. It's so fast, the entire defensive orbital array on the periphery of the planet has been completely destroyed by them. What? How can that be? The Führer of Huigo's eyes widened in disbelief. In his view, the Chizirum civilization was their absolute ally. How could it be possible to attack them? Don't. What the Great Qin Emperor said was true. Has the Chichirum civilization really betrayed their Galactic Justice Alliance system and joined the evil Great Qin Empire? Führer, the Chizirum civilization has dropped unknown light-grained weapons on our planet. For your safety, please evacuate as soon as possible. Suddenly, an officer broke in, spoke nervously to the Führer of Huige, and at the same time went to help the Führer leave. But at this moment, the officer had just held out his hand, and suddenly the expression on his face was a little strange. With a poof sound, he fell to the ground. What's wrong? The Führer wanted to lift the fallen officer up. As a result, it was found that all the officials and others around them had fallen to the ground. Führer, I can feel that my body seems to be reorganization, the officer said intermittently with a look of pain on his face. After saying this, he did not move. No more sound. What's going on? The Führer of Huige was completely stunned, looking around left and right, and he was the only one who could stand up. Warning, body monitoring systems monitor that unknown particles are invading the body. Body cells are invaded. Please take urgent measures. Urgent measure. Failed. The Führer of Huige's eyes went black, and the whole person fell to the ground like them. I don't know how long it took. A four-legged, two-handed figure of Huigo stood up. Two electronic eyes flashed with a scarlet glow. Squeak, squeak. Mechanical four-legged movement. One by one, four-legged, hands-on-body robots that looked like they were made of alloy stood up. The flesh and blood brains of living things have been transformed into a bunch of chip circuit assemblage. The original structure has been completely lost. These people, including the Führer of Huigo, have been completely transformed into unconscious robots. On the streets of the city, countless Huige people who fell to the ground were completely transformed into unconscious robots, wandering unconsciously in the city. Outside the city, the jungle, the original verdant trees, the bushes, have now become a gray-white intertwined metal jungle. A cocoon breaks open from the inside on top of a steel leaf. Mechanical wings stretched out and a mechanical butterfly flew out. Boom! A loud bang. This mechanical butterfly was instantly blown away by the violent air current. The direction of the air currents, outside the city, a giant umbrella-shaped battleship descended from the sky. Erected, the umbrella-like skeleton structure rushed up and landed on the ground. In the city, countless Huige robots seemed to receive some instructions, and their movements were unified, and they spontaneously lined up in a long line. The icy electronic eyes of the unconscious shimmered with light. The Huige robots, lined up in a long line, moved in unison toward the battleship that had fallen through the hatch and formed an upward passage. Such a scene took place in each city of the home star of the Huige civilization. The more than 300 representatives of the fourth-level civilization leaders in the Galactic Council space were all silent. There was shock in the silence. They had no idea that it would be such a result. Qin Sheng, on the other hand, stretched out his hand, and his fingers gently slid in the void. The whole world around me has changed again. Or another piece of space. Another planet. The same great Qin Empire fleet. Exactly the same thing is going on. But this is not the home star of the Huige civilization, but one of the other 11 civilizations that immediately rebelled against the Great Qin Empire along with the Huige civilization. 11 scenes in a row. All the time, the 12 rebellious civilizations, including the Huige civilization, were all attacked by the fleet of the Great Qin Empire, and it was dropped with a silicon-based conversion bomb. Exactly 12 planets of life, the mother star, were completely transformed into steel planets. Land, plants, animals, intelligent life, one is not bad. A total of 760 billion people of different civilizations have been transformed into unconscious robots. Then it was landed by the fleet of the Great Qin Empire and picked up. These robots will become the mechanical workers of the Great Qin Empire in the future. For the grassroots industry of the Great Qin Empire, he did not know fatigue and never stopped contributing his own strength. Cruel. It's brutal. So many intelligent beings are transformed into unconscious machines and then work tirelessly forever. In the galactic parliamentary space, all the leaders of civilizations shuddered with fear. Only the representative of the North Galaxy Wei Yang, the group's financial eyes lit up slightly. But in his heart, he was calculating, I don't know how much this weapon costs. If the cost is less than to make 100 billion working robots. While all the leaders of civilization were terrified, the group finance thought of this aspect. It can only be said that the North Galaxy Wei Yang is worthy of the capital civilization group. Guys, you see it. The rules of the galaxy have changed. I announce that the Great Qin Empire has officially entered the Council of the Galactic Civilization Destiny Community, replace the Chintrum civilization and become the leader. Now, who is in favor and who is against? Qin Sheng's eyes scanned everyone, and he said coldly, Chapter 128, Galactic Overlord. Horror bonus. Subscribe. All the leaders of civilization were silent. Suddenly, the representative of the North Galaxy Wei Yang, Group Finance, stood up. Qin Sheng's eyes looked at him coldly. What, you oppose? No, don't get me wrong, Your Honor. I approve of your entry into the galaxy and believe that the galaxy will move towards a better light under your leadership. The Group Finance and Economics of Bird Head cannot stop the next point. Both hands have been clapping and clapping. As soon as the Group Finance and Economics said this, some representatives of the fourth-level civilization leaders immediately threw hostile glances at him. Sure enough, the capitalists are the grass on the wall, and they really shouldn't expect anything from them. At this time, there was a civilization leader who gave a cold sigh in his heart. Of course, he did not dare to say this sentence. Qin Sheng glanced at the appearance of the Group Finance, which was a humanoid creature, but it had a bird's head. At this moment, one of the four fourth-level peak civilizations, the representative of the Iron Curtain Starry Sky civilization, the body of the Starry Sky Tower flashed a little, and said, Our Iron Curtain Starry Sky civilization was not originally a native civilization of the Milky Way. We fled from the Magellanic Galaxy. For our Iron Curtain Starry Sky civilization, nothing is more important than the safety of our own civilization. Therefore, no matter who you are, as long as you can protect the safety of our civilization, then we will obey your instructions. The body of the Starry Sky Tower is a suspended mechanical tower, and it is impossible to see where the blue eyes are. But Qin Sheng could feel that he was indeed looking at himself. In this regard, Qin Sheng bowed his head slightly, and said, When my Great Qin Empire enters the position of leader of the galaxy, it will naturally guarantee the safety of the galaxy. Very good, then I have nothing to object to in the Iron Curtain Starry Sky civilization. When the Starry Sky Tower finished speaking, it stopped talking. The pioneering civilization has never made any statement, and it is all a wave. Then, only a group of war-type civilizations led by the hero military state remained. What about you? What do you think? Qin Sheng looked at the representative of the Shilua military state. The leaders of civilization, led by the hero military state, were silent. It's good that they are a war-type civilization, but that doesn't mean they're crazy people who have to stick to them. The true madman who must fight everyone cannot join the parliament of the Galactic Civilization Destiny Community. The representative of the Shilua military state was initially Admiral Xingchen, But in the previous war with the Great Qin Empire, Admiral Xingchen and all the soldiers of the Shilua military fleet were killed. Therefore, the representative of the current Shiro military state is replaced by the head of the Hierro. War-type civilizations usually solve the problems of the interests of their own civilizations through the means of war, and now, obviously, they simply could not defeat the Great Qin Empire with the neutron battlestar. Not to mention that now, after absorbing the Chichiram civilization, the Great Qin Empire is even larger and more powerful. At the same time, the Führer of Hero also noticed a little. The Great Qin Empire went to destroy the mother planet of the 12 civilizations, and the fleets used were all the fleets of the former Kikram civilization. So, what about the Great Qin Empire's Hanbiba team? What are they doing? This civilization, the Führer of Hero, is unknown. He had an incomparable worry in his heart, worry about the future of the galaxy. But, instead of worrying about the future of the galaxy, not worrying about the future of his own civilization after a quick weighing in his heart, Führer Shiluo nodded. We have nothing to object. If the Great Qin Empire can better protect the safety of the galaxy, then we will naturally obey the order. There is no civilization to oppose. Qin Sheng was satisfied. Look, the Galactic Council will indeed be fair. Everyone thought that he Great Qin Empire could become the leader of the galaxy. Well, then, after the galaxy has a new leader, it must make new rules. My Great Qin Empire is responsible for protecting the safety of all of you here. Don't let the galaxy be invaded by extra civilizations. But since the Great Qin Empire has paid, it must be rewarded. From now on, taxes will be collected. As soon as Qin Sheng said this, all civilizations were stunned. Tax? What tax? Research tax. Now, all your existing scientific and technological systems need to pay 1/10 of the existing technology to the Great Qin Empire. As for what technology the cotton pays, you will screen it yourself. In addition, henceforth, the time standard of the Milky Way is calculated in terms of the time of the Earth. Every year, if there is a breakthrough in the scientific research of civilization that has joined the parliament, it must be copied and then handed over to the Great Qin Empire for scientific and technological backup. Of course, after collecting taxes, Qin will not ignore you. There will always be a galactic patrol fleet patrolling the galaxy. If any of your civilizations are in danger, you can turn to the patrol fleet for help. Rest assured, in any corner of the galaxy, the fleet of the Great Qin Empire can be reached quickly without the help of stellar migration. This last sentence is to show the strength. All the leaders of civilization heard the words, and at the same time they were shocked. Without the help of stellar migration, could it be that the Great Qin Empire has already advanced to become a 5th-level civilization? That's too fast, right? How long has the Great Qin Empire appeared? Is your Great Qin Empire really a treacherous divine choice? Qin Sheng felt a strange look, smiled slightly, and behaved amiably. As for the chaotic problem that has been plaguing the galaxy, it is also up to my Great Qin Empire to send a fleet to solve it. Since you are a leader, you must have the appearance of a leader. Oh yes, one more point. Each of you civilizations must remember what I look like. I'm human. In the galaxy in the future, races like mine will be respected, human beings will be respected, and humanoid creatures will be respected. Understand? The Galactic Civilization Destiny Community Council was considered to have completely submitted to the Great Qin Empire. At this moment, Qin Sheng's mind also sounded the voice of the system. Ding dong. New achievements are complete. You have become the overlord of the galaxy. The prestige of the empire you have built has spread far and wide through the galaxy. All the 4th-level civilizations in the galaxy are subservient to you. But becoming the overlord of the galaxy brings not only benefits, but also higher dangers. The system prompts that the galactic natural disaster and the insect invasion are about to start. Extra-system invasion are about to start. Zerg races from outside the galaxy and destructive civilizations with neutron battlestars are approaching the galaxy. They have conquered the Magellanic Galaxy, and now they have spread their claws to the Milky Way. Galactic Overlord, frontal BUF has been lightly increased. Galactic Overlord, plus 100% research speed, this is a permanent buff, 1000 times increase. Galactic Overlord, humanity, Emperor Supremacy, all human forces in the galaxy that are attached to the Great Qin Empire will enjoy a bonus of plus 500% of the scientific research speed, 5 times the scientific research speed bonus. The scientific research speed of the Great Qin Empire itself is plus 100,000%, 1000 times the scientific research speed bonus. Chapter 129, Great Qin, expanding the number of neutron battle stars. Subscribe. What is a human being is up to you, the Emperor. Humans, Homo sapiens are certainly human, but it doesn't stop there. As an emperor, Qin Sheng was also able to identify those races that had human form and were similar in form to humans as human beings. However, it belongs to the human subspecies, belongs to an affiliate race. However, once Qin Sheng identified as a human being, after attaching to the Great Qin Empire, he could also enjoy the effect of such a five-fold increase in scientific research speed. For the bonus effect of the new achievement title, Qin Sheng was very satisfied. 1,000 times the speed of scientific research is added, which is really scary. What made Qin Sheng vigilant was the system prompt that the natural disaster that was about to open had invaded the insect clan. Extra invasive. 2 natural disasters at a time. It's enough to give me face, Qin Sheng thought to himself. Subsequently, Qin Sheng turned his head and informed the leaders of the 4th-level galactic civilizations present at all levels. I just received news that there are 2 extra civilizations that are about to invade the galaxy. However, you don't have to worry, my great Qin Empire is the leader of the galaxy. He was the first to rush to the battlefield against foreign enemies. For Qin Sheng, these 2 natural disasters really came at the right time. Today's galaxy interior is not a happy harmony at present. At least it is also a heavy shield. The contradiction between civilization and civilization, especially the contradiction with the Great Qin Empire, is not small. Now, here are 2 invading extra-alien civilizations. In this way, internal contradictions can be transferred outward, through external wars, to divert the internal contradictions of the galaxy. It is also conducive to the Great Qin Empire ruling the galaxy. Which civilizations are responsible for patrolling the defensive formations on the outer reaches of the galaxy? Qin Sheng asked. The representative group finance of the Northern Galaxy Wei Yang immediately stood up and said to Qin Sheng, Emperor, it has always been sent by the top 20 civilizations to take turns to send fleets to inspect. This year, it is just the turn of the Kikram civilization to lead the team, the Tiansong civilization, the Grimm civilization, the Cheongshui civilization, and the Huahuamachi civilization to assist and cooperate with the inspection. That's it. Qin Sheng touched his chin and said, since this is the case, the Chichiram civilization is already a member of my Great Qin Empire. Then this year's Galactic Border Patrol will be led by my Great Qin Empire. But the extra invasion is imminent. In order to conduct a comprehensive inventory to avoid alien civilizations entering the galaxy, fleets of all civilizations had to be mobilized to patrol the galactic frontier. This is Great Qin's order, understand? Qin Sheng glanced around and said. All civilizations did not dare to disobey, and they all nodded their heads and said yes. Emperor Battlestar, Central Control Room. Qin Sheng, who was sitting on the main seat, slowly opened his eyes. Reach out and remove the parliamentary communicator you are wearing next to your ear. Qin Sheng, who had withdrawn from the parliamentary space, stood up. What about the other planets of the Chizuram civilization? Qin Sheng asked. A 3-dimensional virtual imaging shadow appeared, and Kiki Bell floated in the air, barefoot, and said, at present, more than half of the Chi-Chi Luo Mujiman planet has been baptized by the Iron Heart assimilation bomb. The population of jellyfish girls has increased to 470 billion. The number of attached fleets has also exceeded 4 million. The fleet is in action, and there are still about 40% of the colonized planet of Chizitram that has not yet been transformed. Qin Sheng lowered his jaw slightly, and sighed. It is worthy of being a legitimate 4th-level peak civilization. The population and the territory are so huge. Although the jellyfish maiden has only just joined the Great Qin Empire, its population is already the largest number of tactical maiden species in the Great Qin Empire, and if the remaining Kikram colonization planets are all transformed, then the entire population is probably more than 800 billion. However, the Kikram civilization, with a total population of more than 800 billion, is still relatively small among the 4th-level civilizations. Other 4th-level civilizations with more development time, such as the Aethys Empire, which had been beaten by the Great Qin Empire in a semi-destroyed state, had a population of more than 10 trillion. But the population is not in the large, but in the fine. The civilization of the Aethys Empire, no matter how populous it is also a degenerate population, and if it does not think of making progress, it will never be able to double the sky. Although the Kikram civilization has a population of only more than 800 billion, it is a scientist per capita. The potential for development is unmatched, and the fleet power of the entire Chiziram civilization, distributed throughout the galaxy, adds up to the number of all fleets. The number of warships is probably more than 10 million. The number of professional soldiers is tens of billions. More than half of the territory of the original Kikram civilization in the galaxy has also been changed. It was changed to the banner of the Great Qin Empire. Today's Great Qin Empire finally has its own territory. Very well, while receiving the territory of absorbing the original Kikram civilization, we must also seize the time to study the scientific and technological tree that absorbs the original Kikram civilization. You have to quickly break through to the 4th-level civilization. Qin Sheng gave the order. At present, breaking through the 4th-level civilization is not a matter at all for the Great Qin Empire. As long as the original Chi-Chiram science and technology tree was completely absorbed, after digestion, the Great Qin Empire would naturally become a legitimate 4th-level civilization. For Qin Sheng, what he was more concerned about was that the middle clan that was about to invade the galaxy used a Western-type civilization with a neutron drill battle star. What is the strength of these 2 civilizations? Qin Sheng didn't know, and he had no bottom in his heart. Therefore, Qin Sheng could only seize the time to continue to improve his strength. Only the basic level of technology will be taken to a higher level. After letting the system evolve again, Qin Sheng's heart could be more stable. By the way, pass the order to Night Frost and ask her to lead a fleet with a microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer to find neutron stars. Continue to build neutron battle stars and expand military capabilities, Qin Sheng said. A neutron battle star was not enough for Great Qin. You have to do a lot of it. After that, the entire fleet of the Great Qin Empire began to move in the galaxy, while receiving the territory of the original Qin civilization, while absorbing the scientific and technological talent tree of the original Qin civilization. While looking for neutron stars, continue to build neutron battle stars through the microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer, and expand military power. The Great Qin Empire began to expand wildly in the galaxy. Chapter 130. The Zerg and Destroyer Civilization, Natural Disaster, Invades the Galaxy. Subscribe, Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy. The distance between the two is 2.5 million light-years. The Andromeda Galaxy is 1.6 times the size of the Milky Way, has a diameter of 160,000 light-years, and holds more than 1 trillion stars, far more than the number of galaxies. And the number of higher civilizations inside the Andromeda Galaxy is definitely much more than in the Milky Way. Although the system suggests that the two civilizations that are about to invade the Milky Way will come from the Greater Magellanic Galaxy, but in fact, the invading insectoids and destructive civilizations are from the Andromeda Galaxy between the Milky Way Galaxy and the Andromeda Galaxy 2.5 million light-years apart. But between these 2.5 million light-years, there is nothing but darkness. At least, centered on the Milky Way, within 1,400,000 light-years around, there are at least 60 dwarf galaxies. These dwarf galaxies are basically companion galaxies of the Milky Way, orbiting the Milky Way. There are large and small dwarf galaxies with only 1,000 stars. The largest, like the Great Magellanic Galaxy, is about 160,000 light-years away from the Milky Way, somewhat like a separated Milky Way, slightly longer in shape. It has a mass of about 1/10 of the Milky Way, is 20,000 light-years in diameter, and has about 10 billion cis stars. Unlike the cantilever-shaped Milky Way, it has no specific shape, is an irregular galaxy, but has a trajectory of rod-spinning structure. The Magellanic Galaxy, on the other hand, is located 210,000 light-years away from the Milky Way and is itself 7,000 light-years in diameter. It has hundreds of millions of stars. River systems, dwarf galaxies, are like the relationship between the planets at the mouth of the stars. The Milky Way is a huge gravitational point, with 60 dwarf galaxies orbiting the Milky Way within 1.4 million light-years. The Great Magellanic Galaxy orbits the Milky Way every 1.5 billion years, following a given orbit. At this moment, in the Magellanic Galaxy, it is experiencing a difficult situation. Countless planets of life, reduced to scorched Earth. On these scorched Earth planets, strangely shaped and fierce twisted monsters roam freely, devours all nutrients. Zerg, wherever they passed, everything was scorched Earth and lives were destroyed. Thousands of years ago, a swarm of meteorites wrapped in these Zerg spores came from the direction of the Andromeda Galaxy, entered the Magellanic Galaxy. For thousands of years, these insectoids have continued to expand and expand. Countless civilizations and planets in the galaxy have been slaughtered by them. None of them were spared. However, the Magellanic Galaxy is not large after all, with only hundreds of millions of stars. The number of living planets is not much. Now, these Zerg have swallowed up all civilizations throughout the Magellanic Galaxy. It's time to look for the next target. Go to the Milky Way. The Milky Way is 100,000 light-years in diameter and has hundreds of millions of stars. There are countless civilizations that can be transformed into your nourishment. The Zerg Queen's ears rang out. Tataros, don't try to sway my mind. The Zerg Queen snorted coldly, the voice of the angry soldier in her ear. Tatalus, the Gonchi demon of the 4th level. Since the last time the Great Qin Empire destroyed the real cosmic body, the mind was banished back to subspace. He has always held a grudge and wants to find an opportunity to get revenge. However, in the galaxy, all the higher civilizations were threatened by the Great Qin Empire, and the 4th level civilizations had a standard moral standard system and ideological steel seals to constrain the individuals of the civilization. Subspace chaos wants to invade, it is more difficult. So Tataros is looking beyond the Milky Way. He first passed through subspace, spanning 200,000 light-years, to the Great Magellanic Cloud. Here, Chi found the right one to drive him to attack the galactic target, the Zergens of the Magellanic Galaxy and the destructive civilization of the Great Magellanic Galaxy. Originally, the goal of the Zerg Queen was to leave the Magellanic Galaxy and go to the Large Magellanic Galaxy, which is closer. However, Tatalos persuaded her. The Great Magellanic Galaxy, 20,000 light-years in diameter and with tens of billions of stars, is not small. But is your appetite limited to this? It's a little farther. Look into the Milky Way. That's far better than the Great Magellanic Galaxy. It's also longer. Moreover, the Great Magellanic Galaxy has a destructive civilization, and at this moment it is also caught in endless war, and a large number of planets have been reduced to scorched earth purgatory and lost their nutrients. Why don't you join forces with the destructive civilization and invade the galaxy together? I'll be in it, matching your door. With Tatalos's persuasion, the Zerg Queen eventually wavered. Tatalus is right, the Milky Way is better than the Great Magellanic Galaxy. If the Great Magellanic Galaxy really has a destructive civilization, it is undoubtedly not suitable as a nutrient for her insect family. Ultimately, the Zerg Queen decided to head for the galaxy. The communication kingworms throughout the Magellanic Galaxy conveyed the Queen's orders to each Zerg race. Above countless dead planets that have turned into scorched earth purgatory, a giant insect clan with a huge body and the smallest being more than 10 kilometers long took off into the sky and left the planet. The Leviathans of the Zerg tribe carry countless Zerg biological units and begin to leave the Magellanic Galaxy, heading towards the Milky Way. The Great Magellanic Galaxy, with its powerful neutron battlestar, the destroyer civilization basically swept away the Great Magellanic Nebula, basically all the higher civilizations. Wherever they passed, all they left was killing. Endless killing. And in the midst of endless killing, it is very easy to be affected by the pervasive whispers of fear. Therefore, among the destroyer civilizations, there are many believers who believe in chaos and evil gods and fear abuse. And fear and treachery have always been discordant. Fear of abuse believes that the trickster who plays with intrigue and trickery is undoubtedly the good people. If Tatalus came into contact with them as a treacherous demon, he would even be attacked by the destroyer civilization. But Tatalus has his own way. Don't forget what treacherous is best at: disguise, bully. As a treacherous demon, Tataros naturally grew up to this point. So Tatalus disguised himself as a demon of terror and went to contact the destroyer civilization, fool them into heading to the galaxy.